one thing a lot of people ask is how do you get better paying clients, specifically in software services. I run a software company and have been doing that for the past 2.5, 3 years. And that's something a lot of people ask, how do you get better clients? And something, I ask myself, like, it's a question and it's really important. How do you move to better and better paying clients, better quality clients? Like, better paying clients are usually also higher quality. Like, the guy who's paying you $50 for something is going to, if you want $5 more, he's going to be like, oh, what's that for? Like, are you sure you need it? Like, you justify the value to me and all that stuff. And the guy who's paying the guy who's paying 5,000, he doesn't bat an eye. The guy who's paying 50,000, it doesn't even, it just is okay. You sign off. All right, whatever, payment's done. Most of the time, higher ticket also comes with high quality. And so how do you move that? How do you move toward that? And I think this is there's no secret step, like, magical formula. The reality is you just need to be better. And what I mean by that is higher paying clients want higher quality things. And that means you need higher standards. And what I mean by that is, like, if you, like, the highest paying clients also have much higher standards and they have more choice because they are able to pay higher. That means the competition is more experienced. They're more professional. They're like, the harsh truth for a lot of people is your stuff just isn't as good as you think it is. And it's just going to be better. Like, your portfolio sucks. It's just not, like, it doesn't look good. The code is bad. Like, the quality of the services or the communication is bad. Like, a lot of times that's the reality. Like, most businesses are mediocre. Most businesses just don't do that good a job. I mean, the definition of average is like, it's most people by definition must be like closer to average than not. Well, like, okay, I'm not going to go into like statistical like scenarios because, like, technically, you could have a situation where people are far from the average, but the average is still like somewhere in the middle. But it's generally like a pretty normal distribution where you have a lot of things that are just very mediocre. And that's where most people operate. And so if you want to operate with higher paying clients, you'd be surprised. Like, sometimes you find companies that have way higher paying clients and their services aren't that much better. And usually that comes as a point of distribution, as a reason, because they, for some reason or another, have a natural distribution into very high paying circles. So for example, if you happen to be, born into some area with a large amount of wealth and all those kinds of people that run their own companies, whatever, and they pay and they have great companies and they pay a lot of money for software services, then maybe you can go straight into high ticket clients. But for everybody else, you kind of have to work your way there. You have to meet people, you have to meet the right people, whatever. And in order to make your way into those circles, you must be better and have a reason to be kind of brought into that circle to begin with. And the reason that you bring to the table usually has to be quality. It's quality and trust. And the trust part comes from the human perspective. So you have to be somebody who's trustworthy. And so you have to build relationships with people. You have to build relationships to the point where people like you. They like you as a person. They like you as a friend. And they want to introduce you to other of their friends. And when they introduce you to their friends, then slowly you'll start to move up. But also, in order for people to recommend you, you have to be good. And I think most people don't realize like what good really means. I say this because I think I have a fair few people that have reached out and they send me a portfolio and it's not that good. Like, it's not that good. Like, it's really not. And you have to honestly look at your portfolio. And like, I think I have consistently experienced this throughout all of my years developing. And I've been running this business for 2.5 years, but I've been developing for a lot more. I first started kind of programming stuff when I was like 12, 13. And consistently, like, I look back at things 6 months ago, a year ago, and I look at it and it's like, this is awful. Like, this was like, the code is shit, the design is shit, the functionality is shit, it's not smooth, it's not crisp, the details aren't there. And I hope that in another 6 to 12 months, I'm gonna look at things and say the same thing. And it's like, you constantly have to be pushing your bar higher and higher. And nobody's going to do that for you. You have to do it yourself. And you have to be able to look at your stuff. And like, I mean, to some degree, obviously you have to have a lot of pride in your work, right? But at the same, because I think pride drives effort, and that's really important. So you have to be able to put a lot of pride into things so that you really work hard in it and deliver incredible results. But at the same time, you also can't let that pride blind you to the fact that your work isn't as good as it could be. It's just not. Like, are you genuinely so arrogant to believe that you are the best in the world at this thing? If and most people are able to say no, okay, so that means you can get better. And so you have to get better. You have to figure out what's the next step. Is it like the details matter? Like, I think that's one of the things which I look out. Like, when I hire people, one of the first things I go to is I look at the details. like the box shadows, the hover animations, the corner rounding, the font sizes, like the responsiveness on different screens. Like, do they pay attention to the small things? That I think is a really important question. That is something that is like can quickly improve your standards. Like just the highest standards people pay attention to the smallest of details, the things that somebody logs onto this website and they don't even think about it. It just feels smooth. They don't know what is it about this website that looks nice? I don't know. But it just feels good. It just feels good to use. And the reality is the developer who made that paid attention to the smallest things. That would be it the developer, the designer, whatever. Like when you, and I think this is a really important factor for you to be able to afford the time of higher paying clients. Like they have more options. And so why would they pick you? Why? Like if they have a larger budget, they have more people that they can afford. They can afford some really high quality guys. And so if you want to compete at those higher budgets, you have to compete with those higher quality guys. And they do really good stuff, like, and sometimes I look at stuff, I'm like, man, I wish I could do that. And I'm going to build toward that. And every single project has been better than the last. And it must continue to be so. Like you must continue to grow. And you can you can also you have to iterate on every project. Every project has to be better than the last. And it's just you get better over time. You get better through repetition. You just get better by doing it again and again and again. And I think that's an idea that a lot of people don't make enough use of. Just do more of it, keep doing projects, and start wherever you can. And some people, they're concerned because freelancing platforms don't pay super well. Well, yeah, because you're on a platform where everybody's looking for lower price. They're just looking for the people who go on those platforms on Fiverr, on Upwork, are usually looking for lower prices, right? And so if you want to get out of that, you also have to move to referrals and whatever. And referrals are how, the way that you get the clients who really pay well are not going to be on those platforms. Clients who pay really well find things through referrals, because that is also I hire pretty much exclusively through referrals as well. I hire through people that I find in my network or whose work I see online, and then I reach out, whatever. But I hire through referrals because I want that basis of trust with somebody. And so I go to my network, I go to, okay, who are the people that I trust and who do they trust? Because if I trust them and they trust somebody, I think they probably have a good measure of who to trust, right? That's why I trust them in the first place. And so that's where I go. And that's how a lot of higher paying clients, basically people who operate larger companies or have decision power in larger companies, they will go to the people that they know first, because that's a lot safer than finding some stranger on the internet. And so, they're not going to be showing up on these platforms and whatever. You have to build a network. And if you want to build a network, you got to be noteworthy.